Welcome back to Life on Record, the podcast where we laugh so we don't cry about our soul crushing realities. You know, growing up, I think a lot of us are taught to chase certain careers or titles. But some of the hardest and most important jobs in society are the ones people overlook. If you've ever worked a job that didn't get enough respect, this episode is for you. And if you know someone who works hard every day in a job people overlook, send this episode to them. Today's conversation is very special for me because I'm joined here with my daughter, Sydney. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Good to be here.
So Sydney's worked in fast food. She served as a 911 operator and now works with the Florida Department of Children and Families. And every one of those jobs comes with pressure, a lot of pressure, and responsibility, and lessons most people never even see. So, Sydney, tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
So hey guys, I'm Sydney. I'm 28, live in the Northwest region of Florida, single. I've got 2 fur cat babies, and most people wouldn't know, but I am obsessed with all things horror.
So, horror meaning what would be your favorite horror movie?
Uh, Horror movie. I mean, I have to go with the classics: Halloween, Scream, Saw, those generations of movies for sure.
Yeah, so some people may not know that Sydney's name is named after a main character from Scream. So that's where her name came from.
It is.
Very good movie. The original one. The rest of them, they're okay.
It would have been weird if I didn't like horror movies at all and my name was Sydney. It'd be a
Yeah.
little interesting.
So you prefer the Friday the 13th versus the Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street type of movies then?
Well, no, I mean, those come from the same generation, so I would say that those are very classic movies that I enjoy. There are some good ones out currently, but I would say that nothing beats original classic horror movies.
So as a horror fan, what would you say is kind of the best leading horror type movie or show out these days?
I've seen more so psychological movies that people are getting into. Nobody's into really the thriller and slasher.
Mhm.
People get weirded and grossed out by the gore from movies, which was the original back in the day. We had slasher movies, but I think now when you have a movie that's playing with the mind, that gets people curious and interested.
Okay, that's cool. So as we talked about your favorite horror movies and your genre of things that you enjoy, let's kind of step back into the podcast topic. What surprised you the most about working a job in customer service? Because that was your first job, right? So you first worked a job.
Burger King.
Yeah, exactly. Where you're working in customer service, essentially preparing food and serving it to customers. So what would you say surprised you most about that job?
I don't think people realize a whole lot of the time that you're building socialization skills a lot quicker and faster, whereas a customer who's coming through the drive-through is just picking up their order, going about their day. But when you provide that one-on-one contact, sometimes it can make a difference in someone's day, which I think helped me grow into the jobs that I have today.
Okay. So speaking of that, walk us through your journey so far. Where did you start? And then we kind of started with that little first question about working in food service. But walk us through your journey and where you are today.
I started working at Burger King in Paulsville, Washington at the ripe age of 18. And from there, I transitioned to a janitor out in South Carolina, which I know that sounds like a big jump from one side of the country to the other. But I was also in college at the time trying to get my associate's degree in criminal justice. I wanted to be a cop. So I wasn't 21 yet, and you have to be 21 to be able to handle a firearm. While transitioning through all of that, I tried to become a sheriff's deputy. Things didn't go quite the way I wanted to, but that's where I found 911 dispatching for about 2.5 years through COVID, which that was a lot. And that led me to wanting to do more in person, not just on the phone. So I started working for domestic violence shelters, working with women, children, and men. And then that pursued me to wanting to do even more in field, in person work, the whole socialization aspect of it all. And now I work for DCF, or people know it as CPS.
Okay, excellent. Did you always know what kind of work you wanted to do?
No, not at all. I know growing up, I wanted to be a marine biologist, and then I wanted to be a cop. I thought about joining the Navy, following my dad in his footsteps at one point. Um, but I think even as the years went on, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. Even though trust me, I love the career that I have now. I think it's the perfect for me. I'm still thinking long term, like how I can help the world, how I can help people, and in what way I can do that within my job now.
Okay. So what's one job that people completely underestimate?
I would say the current job that I have now, working in CPS fields, people have so many misconceptions about what we do. And I can only speak for what I do here in Florida. I can't speak for any other state because laws and policies are so much different there. However, there is a big misconception of social work in the United States, at least.
Cool. Uh, Although it may not sound cool that that's a misconception, but it is cool that you recognize that and you're doing what you can to help better improve the lives of others and getting them in the right place, getting them the right resources, and helping them be successful, whether it's children or the family, depending on where the need and where the help is. And I applaud you. I think it's amazing that you do that work. It's very, very important.
Thank you.
So, what surprised you most about customer service work? Because you worked at Burger King and then you worked at this. It wasn't really a liquor store; it was more or less like a
Military
military.
gas station.
Yes, exactly. So, what surprised you most about that customer service work?
There is a lot of physical work that goes in it. There's not a lot of thought process, I would say. I think that's where I kind of got bored of it
Hmm.
for a while. Though it was a good job. It paid my bills when I needed to, kept me above water. It was showing me a way to show to other people my work ability, knowing how far I could push myself to want to do more and be better for even the smallest of tasks. But I don't think people realize how physically demanding those types of jobs, and that we need those types of jobs on an everyday basis. People overlook them
Hmm.
and think less of them a lot. And so, I mean, I still give props to everybody who does them because they are physically taxing at times.
And what's one thing that people don't understand about those jobs?
Again, that they're very important to our society. Without them, who's doing those jobs?
Exactly.
Who is going out there and, picking up the trash off the side of the road? Who's going out there and climbing up those high towers to make sure our lights are working? You know, so someone has to do them.
Hmm.
Someone has to go out and do it on an everyday basis. And that's just how our world functions. People think because they have certain jobs that they're better than other people at times, but if you really sat down and had conversations with somebody else, you would see that a lot of our jobs kind of align in our responsibilities and how we work with people, and just don't second count our hard workers, our hard blue collar workers.
So did that change your perspective on how you viewed people that work customer service jobs, or did you always view it the same and you just tried to ensure that not only were you treating people, the customers fairly, but then also when you would go to somewhere, maybe a place to eat or to get buy, product or go to a store that you treated people even better than you were before, or was it still the same?
Before I got into those jobs, I think I definitely miscounted them 1000%. And
Didn't give them the credit that they actually deserve, right?
yeah,
You didn't know that until you put yourself in their shoes.
exactly. And so when I did have an opportunity to work in those jobs before I got into the field that I am in now, I have so much more respect. I have so much more patience. I listen well with them. And I recognize that I still see people who who miscount them daily, but I think it's helped me grow into a much better person and able to work much better in the job that I have now because I respect and listen for other people.
Yeah, I like that. You never really know what it's like to be that person until you do that job and you really see how people treat you, and it really helps you understand and do a better job at being a better human and treating people better that are doing those service jobs.
That's why I say if you're coming out of high school or in high school and you have an opportunity to volunteer or do a small part-time job,
Mhm.
go and do it. Get that experience. Talk to people. Listen to people. Work with people. That's big is working with people and knowing how it's going to better you and society in the long run.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that.
Mhm.
So, what would you say has been your most chaotic shift working either at the gas station or at Burger King?
Well, those early mornings, people who are needing their coffees and their energy drinks.
I need my coffee.
Yeah.
Make it a large. Lots of sugar. Please, I need help. Give me the caffeine.
Those shifts, the early bird shifts are the
Yeah.
hardest because you're just go, 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 go without a drop of the hat. And you have to be on T because if you don't, you're upsetting somebody.
Yeah.
It's like the dominoes have to align and it's chaotic. I don't think there's probably one chaotic shift that I can remember. That was such a long time ago now, but I mean it's you're on your feet, you're putting in the work, you're putting in the hours, and by the time it's all done, it's just like, what happened? It's almost like it was a dream.
What would be the weirdest order you've ever had somebody
Now
give you?
I thought about this before we got on here. I wouldn't say it was the weirdest, but he was an interesting character. His name was Lyle. He was a much older gentleman. He came through in the morning
Mhm.
to get his Pepsi and his two bacon, egg, and cheese croissant sandwiches.
Right.
Yeah. And he'd just pull up to the window and be like, "Hey, it's Lyle." And then he'd cut the corner and be at the second window in like 0.5 seconds. And when I first started working and he came to my window, I was like, what is happening? And, he pulls up to the window expecting me to already have his order ready to go. And after a while, I got used to him, but he never liked it. He never liked to have any change back,
Mhm.
like in coins. He never wanted a receipt at all. So he was a character.
Wow. That's crazy. Do you think people judge others and maybe the job because they've never actually done it?
Yeah, I would say so, 100%. Not everybody is like that. Not everybody judges customer service. I know
Mhm.
good people out there, but judgment comes in very small and big conversations, whether you're wanting them to speed up your order or whether they're taking too long to come back with the bill.
Mhm.
I mean, everybody says little things here and there that I don't think that they recognize on a day-to-day basis, but we all have our lives. We all have a place to go. We all got things to do. Um, but I think it's still out there. But the more you talk again, the more you listen again, the more you're able to have more respect for those people.
Okay. I like that. It's really nice. Yeah, I think a lot of parents too, they want their kids to start somewhere, as you said, try to get one of those customer service jobs. You'll really learn a lot. You'll learn about people, you'll learn about others, and you'll learn to work well together as a team. But we want kids to start out somewhere where they can learn responsibility, learn some of those processes. And honestly, it should teach them a lot about life. And I think working in a customer service job, you get that. You get where people actually teach you a lot about life, not only just working as a team, but just listening to people from all types of backgrounds and kind of seeing how they interact with people, outside of their element because they're there as a customer.
It also helps you appreciate your money more when you're earning it yourself.
Oh yeah, of course, right? So what was that like? You're making minimum wage, and you're getting a little bit of money in your pocket, and then you also have bills to pay. So what was that like?
I had to learn real quick what the money in my pocket meant. I could not spend it like it was nothing because it was everything. I mean, even though I was well taken care of, I mean,
You were still living at home, yeah.
yeah, I was still living at home at that point. I mean, I was a kid, but so most of my day to day stuff were taken care of. I was paying for small little things here and there, but it helped me start to realize, hey, I need to make sure I have enough money for this bill. And
Hmm.
hey, if I want to do this and, in the future, like a trip, or I'm thinking long term for my own personal self, like I'm going to have to start putting money away. And it came very quick then that money meant something real
Yeah.
in society.
And it's expensive to live somewhere, pay for your food, a car insurance, cell phone bill, all those things, and you weren't even paying electric bills or internet or anything. You had a place to live, and for the most part, you had food and
And this
shelter. And
10 plus years ago now. So, I mean, the economy difference from then to is even worse, I would say.
yeah, I would say the same too. All right, so let's jump to another job that you had, 911 operator. So, what made you want to become a emergency services operator?
Well, when I wasn't able to become a cop,
Okay.
they had a conversation with me about getting some experience in this kind of emotional field. Because being a cop, being a nurse, a doctor, EMT, those kind of first responder roles are emotionally taxing. And I didn't have that, background in my life. So they thought, what better yet to make me become a 911 dispatcher. So I went through the training, got certified, and started taking on the radio day by day. It, it was a lot, I will say. It was a lot.
So if it was a lot for that job, what would you say is the hardest part of it?
Well, you're on a phone. You can't be there with that person. You can't physically help them. And I think that was hard for me because I'm very much hands-on.
Hmm.
So, I'm sorry, trigger warning, but a lot of it you were hearing people dying on the phone,
Hmm.
whether it was someone who's having cardiac arrest or someone who had been shot. You were on the phone and they're most small moments before they pass, and you're on the phone with their family members or their friends trying to save them, and just having to verbally walk them through that can be emotionally taxing for sure.
How did you stay calm during those kind of panicking moments?
I think at first I didn't have that skill.
Hmm.
I think that's something it grew over time. It's because you're not, when someone's energy's up here, you can't meet them because dangerous things happen when you're trying to meet somebody at their level during an emergency situation. So again, I go back to listening. I mean, if you just be quiet, you listen to what they have to say, know that they're, or explain to them that you're there for them and you're here even though you can't physically be here. You're here to listen to everything that they have to say, everything that they're feeling, and just try to help them in the best and quickest way possible, because everything with dispatching is very quick, very fast paced.
Did that change how you see people?
I I would say yes. It opened my eyes for what went on a day-to-day basis in our world. I didn't realize how many emergencies were happening just about 24/7.
Hmm.
It's not a job that you can go into an office, type up some papers, and go home. You're going in there not knowing what kind of day you're going to have. I mean, I know that's for a lot of jobs, but these are crisis moments that you can't predict. There's no way to predict that, you're going to have a full day just full of people crashing into each other, or you're going to have a full day of, you know, people set off fireworks and catching their houses on fire. I
Hmm.
mean,
Or blowing their hand off or fingers. Yeah.
officers
Yeah.
because they're cleaning their firearm, which happened
Hmm.
in a call where a military man was cleaning his firearm and blew off his hand. I mean, you just can't predict that. And so you kind of have to leave some of that emotional aspect at the door. It sounds, like you're not bringing any empathy with you, but if
Hmm.
you bring too much emotion with you, that's when burnout can
Hmm.
happen. And I mean, I experienced that
Yeah.
at times.
What's something people misunderstand about emergency dispatchers?
I think that they think we can get things done quicker than they realize. I know it is a fast paced job, but we're still having to pull resources left from right at times, especially during COVID. It was really hard for a lot of our officers to have contact with the public. Our medical team was having to put on equipment before going into a home, and I was on a call once for 46 minutes with a woman whose husband was in cardiac arrest and he ended up dying. And usually you wouldn't stay on the phone that long with somebody. But unfortunately, I think people realized that we were people too. And so there was only so much that we could do as a public safety to be able to keep us safe during times like that.
Yeah, it's a very emotionally demanding job, and I know at the time I thought, "Hey, this is a really good thing for you." I don't know if I really fully realized, how tough that was going to be on you and your life in general, and how stressful that could be for you. Although you were still, on those calls, helping people, helping save lives as best you could, and being that support mechanism for people, even when they did lose their life or their family members were losing someone, they didn't know what was going on, and there's only so much information that you can share with them. So I think it's very important for people to understand that these type of jobs, especially first responders, even the people supporting those first responders, is a highly emotionally stressful job, and we don't pay people enough to do those jobs. And we really should, as a society, think about how we can do better. How can we be better humans and helping people be more successful in those type of jobs?
Now, it wasn't all sad. I mean,
Right.
there
I'm sure there were some great moments
there
where you're like, yes, today was a great day, right? Yeah.
I mean, I helped a lady give birth over the phone.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. Oh my God, that's crazy.
So we brought life into
Wow.
the world.
That's amazing.
Or
Great
you're
job, Sydney.
Thank you. Or you're just talking to some old guy because he's upset about the construction on the road and he
Yeah.
can't get to work on time. I mean, so there
So just talking to somebody that day.
I mean, so it's not all bad. I mean, I do love that work. Now I don't do it anymore
Mhm.
for mental health reasons,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's an important job that only a good handful of people can really do well.
Hmm.
And yeah, like you said, we need to be able to respect that a lot
Yeah.
more with each other because it's an important
Yeah.
job. It's happening right now while we're just sitting here. People are calling 911, people are calling the non-emergency line. It doesn't stop.
Yeah. So what would you say that most of your calls came from? Because on certain days you would answer, 911 emergency calls. You would answer, like you were saying, the non-emergency number. You would be dispatching for fire. You'd be dispatching for the police. What would you say the typical day be like for somebody doing that job?
I would say we had a lot of, 911 hangups, pocket
Hmm.
dials. So people get annoyed because we have to call back, but it's policy because we have had moments where it seems like someone's just pocket dialing.
Hmm.
In reality, someone is trying to reach out for help. We had those a lot. When hurricane season's happening, people just call to get updates about the weather system. When big festivals are going on, people call about, roads that they can get down to. So people are just calling about the most typical things people need to know information about on a day-to-day basis because that's what people think we are. We're an information center,
Right.
which we're not. We still have to answer those phone calls. On a day-to-day basis, we're doing traffic stops, making sure that kids are crossing the street safely from school.
Hmm.
Um, Cops are going around at night doing business checks to make sure no one's breaking in. And then I would say that those are probably our typical calls we got on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. How did you separate work stress from home life or stress at home?
I will say honestly, I did not do this quite well. I ended up suffering really bad with my mental health at one point and needed emergency assistance with therapy and medication. I could not separate it for a long time. Yes, I eventually pushed myself to be able to continue doing the work because I needed a job
Hmm.
at the time. So I ended up getting mental health assistance, going to therapy weekly, taking my medication like I was supposed to take. So sometimes it gets to those extremes. I know other people, they journal on a day-to-day basis. People make sure that they have hobbies outside of these types of work.
Hmm.
People have families that they go home to and children that they get to spend time with. So they add that to what I call like their bucket of comfortability that they can have as soon as they walk out the door and something that emotionally supports them enough to get through the door and just focus on their work.
Okay. Some of our other podcasts, we've talked about, resiliency and, how making mistakes and building scars, emotional scars, physical scars can help you build resiliency and help you be better in life and make better decisions in the future. So, what did this job specifically teach you about emotional resilience?
Emotional resilience. I'm able to take a lot of people's trauma and better process it better and help them better
Hmm.
in the long run. Because not a lot of people can, they hear terrible things and it affects them greatly. Some people feel as if they need to fight, flight, or freeze. And sometimes I think there's a fourth option. And it's just, again, listening and
Hmm.
then providing that emotional support to somebody. I think a lot of people still do it on a day-to-day basis, not even in their job field. If you have a close friend or you're married or have kids, you've got to practice that because that's how we build connections and that helps us in society too.
Okay, that's cool. It's good that you realize and you understand those things. And as a young person, you've dealt with a lot early in your life, but I think you have always had the skill set and the abilities to continue to power through, even when things were emotionally difficult and physically difficult. You still powered through, and I applaud you for that, for being a resilient. I say kid or child, but you're an adult. Like you're almost 30. Yes, but you're still my child, so I still look at it that way a lot. But yes, you are full grown adult.
Hopefully Uncle Kenny doesn't hear it because he hates the word kid.
Yeah, he does, right? You heard that on the podcast. Yeah, he's like, I don't like the word kid. I'm like, Billy Goat, man. He'd rather say children, but yeah. So speaking of that, Florida Department of Children and Families, what drew you into that kind of work?
Well, I was actually working one of my night shifts at a domestic violence shelter when the HR team had reached out to me from DCF.
Hmm.
They had seen my application out there on Indeed, which I love Indeed, by the way. And they saw my background, they saw my qualifications that I had had for my previous jobs, and thought that I'd be a perfect fit. So I contacted them, went through background screenings, interviews, drug tests, the whole thing. And by the time it was all said and done, I realized that this was the type of work that I had been looking for my whole life. It gave me an opportunity to help people, but not just over the phone. It
Hmm.
was something in the field work outside of close as I could ever get to like being a cop. But it definitely got me very close with helping, our community and society.
So what motivates you most days doing this work?
I would say it's the kids. They have a special place in my heart. Children are very vulnerable. Children lack resources on a day-to-day basis. And you would think that children in today's world, we would want to be the most helpful
Hmm.
for them. But unfortunately, it's just not how it is. Kids don't have the space a lot of the time to be able to speak up for themselves. Kids don't have the people to support them on a day-to-day basis like we wish they would. Kids just need that love and attention, and I know it can be overlooked because there are so many people in this world. And on a day-to-day basis, people are going to school, people are in activities, people, parents have jobs and sometimes have a lot of kids. I know a family that has 11 kids. And so they get overlooked. That and older people, like our older communities, so adult protection services that I work well with. Those are our vulnerable people, and that's what motivates me to keep them safe.
So what do people misunderstand about working with children and families, this type of work?
I think the biggest myth is that we just come in and take the kids.
Right, which doesn't happen all the time, only if it's a dangerous situation, right?
Baby snatchers, people think that we get bonuses for taking kids, that we get to pick which kids
Yeah, you can clarify that. You do not, right? No,
no,
right,
not
right. Although your pay could be better.
it could be, but it at no point relates to the children that I've had to take into custody because of dangerous situations. That's the biggest myth is people think if they're coming or if we're coming and we're knocking on your door that we must be taking your kid. But That's it doesn't even come close to anything like.
Most of the time, you're just there to make sure everything and everyone is in a safe
Mhm.
environment and the children are taken care of. They've got food, they've got shelter, they've got clothing, they're clean, and just make sure that nobody's abusing the children and everybody that's in that family unit is doing right by the child.
I've worked with them for 4 years now, and I could tell you more times that I was just there to make sure everybody was safe
Mhm.
compared to the number of times I've actually removed a child from a family. So most of the time, we're just going in, checking up, making sure everybody's okay. Because we're not just there for the kids. I mean, I know that's the biggest part of our job.
Mhm.
We're Department of Children and Families. So
Right.
we're there for the people that live in the house. We're there to support them because a lot of the times what's going on that gets us involved is just a lack of support and resources half the time.
Okay. So, what about this work is the most meaningful for you?
The most meaningful is when you can meet a family, figure out what their struggles are, provide them support, and know that they won't be struggling anymore.
Hmm.
Lack of knowledge about your community is what we see on a day-to-day basis. Here in Florida, in my area where I live, yes, we are lacking resources. However, when you can make someone knowledgeable about how community can help them, most of the time we never see them again.
Hmm.
And that is what is most meaningful to me because I would rather them go out and be the most successful that they can be for themselves and their children. I don't want to have to work with them. I mean, if I have to, I will, but at the end of the day, I want you to be the best people that you can be and support your children and love them, and that's all anybody can really ask for.
So, to help our audience and other people listening understand about this job a little bit more, how do you avoid emotional burnout dealing with these difficult situations and helping families?
Well, like I said previously, I had to start therapy services when I was a 911 dispatcher. I've actually been doing therapy for quite a while now. So that is an aspect of an outlet that I use. I also do CrossFit now. That's a physical release. You build a community of friends and family that helps. And I would say that in my job, my supervisors, my coworkers, they know what we all go through. So relying on them to be your support in those types of chaotic moments as well helps us all try to emotionally stay stable away from burnout.
Okay. Has that changed your perspective on people and families, especially dealing with these really emotional situations and helping people?
1,000%. I would have never believed what people truly go through if I had never gotten this job.
Mhm.
I can't tell you how many times that I've walked into a home and somebody was without food or water or electricity or the most basic essentials you think we'd be able to help and support them through, but everybody is struggling with those. People can't find jobs, people can't hold jobs. Like I was saying earlier, I met a family with 11 kids.
Mhm.
Imagine supporting a
Mhm.
family of 11 kids.
That's a lot of children.
It's a lot of kids. I mean, it's not like that all the time. Sometimes it's like 2 kids, 5 kids. But in today's society, it's the basics that is unfortunate that I see people struggling with a lot. And so knowing that helps me understand people as a whole and less judgment occurs because you can't have judgment in this
Hmm.
field. If you walk in a room and you have judgment and they recognize that you have judgment, you're not going to make a connection.
Hmm.
They're not going to trust you. They're not going to want to listen to you. They're not going to want to work with you. So if you walk in without judgment, because I grew up very differently, like I never went anything. So when I walk into a room and that judgment doesn't exist, you can build a better relationship with somebody and you can help them a lot more.
Okay. I like the helping. That's it's a difficult job, but somebody's got to do it, and I'm glad you're doing it because you're a great person, and I know you'll do a wonderful job. So, what do you, for people out there listening, what do you wish more people understood about these helping professional jobs, the job that you're in, helping people. What do you wish people understood more about it?
I wish that people took the time to understand where we all come from and that not everybody comes from the same type of backgrounds. And with that being said, we're all socializing most of the time on a day-to-day basis. And if you realized or if you had a chance to put yourself in someone else's shoes,
Mhm.
the more you'd be willing to speak up and say something about anything that felt out of place or wasn't okay or safe for another human being. And I think if everybody could take that into account to know that one small thing could change someone's whole life. So if you're out there and you're listening, just give someone a helping hand, big or small, make a difference one day at a time. Nothing crazy, but just know that just be that help for somebody because you may need that help someday for you.
Okay, like that. So you've had all these different jobs, and some were probably more difficult than others, whether emotionally or physically. So, what does all this work mean to you now that you're getting more time in a highly professional job and all this hard work that you've done? What does that really mean to you?
I mean, I am also in the process of getting my bachelor's degree,
Mhm.
eventually my master's degree in social work.
Mhm.
The goal is to not just know about my community, but to know about the community as a whole in America and around the world, because it doesn't just stop in my state. Uh, The whole world is going through physical neglect, abuse for children. Unfortunately, it doesn't just stop in your one small little town. What I hope out of all of this is to be able to reach out to people on a much larger scale. I want to be able to help people understand their mental health and substance abuse that people suffer greatly with. At times, that's how we end up with our cases. People who are struggling, people don't know how to, at the times, overcome their addictions. It does affect the people around them.
Mhm.
So I want to be able to understand that more on a global aspect. Because, like I said, it doesn't just stop here in the state of Florida. I think in the long term with that, it'll help me be able to help more people.
So, has your definition of success changed now that you've gotten older and you're working different? You've gone through your kind of stages of work.
For a long time, I thought success meant I had to be rich. I had to be a
I
millionaire. I think that's what we all think at some
mean,
point.
that would be nice, but I don't think it's going to make us any better as a person.
It doesn't make
Having more money is just going to create more problems, right?
So I don't think about the money as success. I think about success as what makes me happy and proud of the
Hmm.
work that I do. And I would say that even on my hardest days, I am happy and I am proud of the work that I produce and the people that I work with and the people that I get to meet. And in my book, that is success.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. You have it. Success is, enjoying what you do and making yourself happy than knowing that you're helping others, if that's the type of job you're in, or helping yourself, depending on what type of job you have. So, which job of all the ones you've had taught you the most about yourself?
It would be this current one. I never would have expected how much I could learn from myself about what communication means and how to communicate to somebody else and how I can work with somebody to help them communicate back. Communication plays a large part in what we do. It doesn't seem like it, but we're communicating
Hmm.
as we're sitting here right now. That has taught me a lot. And my job has taught me more about everything, I would say. I love it. I do love it though.
We talk about communication a lot on our podcast. There have been several episodes where we've discussed communication with our partners, with our loved ones, with our children. Having that communication is important for just about anything that you're doing in life. And sometimes the communication piece is just sitting and listening. Or like today's podcast, I'm mostly listening to my daughter talk about her life, although I'm very familiar with it, but I'm learning a few good things that I didn't know. And I appreciate that. And I love that she's here and we're able to do this today. Well, what do you think society as a whole, how they value the work that people do? How do you how do you see society valuing things, but maybe in the wrong way? Like, for example, if society doesn't view the type of work that you do as valuable, how do you respond to that? Like, how can we help? I guess the real question is, how can we help society as a whole, other people? How can we communicate, as we're talking about communication? How do we help communicate to them that what you do and what other people do is very valuable, and then they should not only respect that, but they should protect that type of work?
Well, I would say that I know that what I do can be very scary to a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people, which is a very valid feeling. And I don't want to push back anybody's emotional experience that they've had with social work,
Mm-hmm.
because I know it's not a perfect job. I know that there are people out there that have done the job in the wrong ways. They've gotten in trouble for those types of things, and nothing is perfect. I understand that. But if you, as much as we try to give a family an opportunity to show um, how they can be better as people, I hope that they in turn at times give us the same possibilities, because that's the only way things are going to work. When you hopefully try to, you don't have to like everybody, but at least try to respect each other in some small way so that we can work more well together, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to help. I've got to know the nitty gritty, even though it's very invasive coming into your home,
Mm-hmm.
talking to you and your kids. It feels like I'm going through all the cupboards, which it's not like that, I promise. But if you just saw me as another person, like I see you as just another person, it definitely helps. Let us help you, because that's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I know it doesn't seem like that, but that's how I try to push my coworkers, people in training, because I'm a mentor too, is just, I say it all the time, just treat them like they're just a person, because you're just a person. So you want that same respect.
It's great stuff, Sydney. It's great stuff. I think every generation views work differently. What would you say that younger people are doing today is a reflection of how they view work now?
Mhm. I mean, social media has blown up
Mhm.
more than I think a lot of us would have ever realized. I mean, we're using social media right now, and people use that to financially support themselves. I don't think that is bad in any way. If you're happy and you love what you do and you're proud of what you do, go out and do it. But I think some of our older generations see social media or influences as people who aren't really putting in real work.
Oh, they're working. Believe me. I can tell you what, doing this podcast takes a lot of time, a lot of extra work. It may not be meaningful to some people, it's meaningful to us. You know, it would be nice if we were making lots of money doing it, but no, we spend more money than we're making doing these podcasts.
I mean,
And I'm sure a lot of people dealing with social media and influencers, they spend a lot of time and energy and they're not getting a lot of the reward. And it takes a long time, many years to build up that following, to build up how they want to communicate to people, and that helps them be successful later, but it takes a long time to get there. You don't just overnight start making a lot of money. It doesn't work that
it
way.
just looks like we're sitting in front of a camera and talking. I know for the top influencers and social media people out there, you're having to understand how computers work. You have to know how editing works. You have to know what's going to work best when you're posting these things. So it takes a lot.
How are you going to draw the audience in?
It takes a lot of mental thought and work, and that in itself is very exhausting. And so for our older generation, I feel like sometimes they think that if you're not out there putting in physical work,
Struggling, right? I'm not out there digging the ditch and making the hamburgers every day. That's nothing, right?
that it's not.
Exactly. You know, pencil whipping the spreadsheets for, as an accountant or something. We have computers now. We have software that does that too, that helps you be successful. And you can spend more time analyzing the work instead of actually putting in the numbers.
But that's how we get information quicker for people all around the world.
Yeah.
Most of the time you were having to go to your library or talk to Joe Schmo down the street.
Right, exactly. And who knows if Joe Schmo knows what you're talking about or even has the right information.
And again, I preach that every work is important, big or small. Someone needs to be out there doing it because
Right.
social media has provided a great outlet for us to speak about things going on
Yeah.
around the world and gives us an opportunity to connect more
Mhm.
emotionally, physically. I mean, people are meeting people for the first time that probably never would have.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
I think social media is a big thing that people try to bash on.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yep. Exactly. That's like going to the grocery store, right?
Yeah.
You go and buy your vegetables and your fruits, and somebody had to grow that on a farm. Somebody had to pick it and clean it and ship it and pack it, ship it, make sure it got to the distribution center to the grocery store. Same thing with meats, right? Somebody has a farm somewhere where they're raising animals and they're feeding and taking care of them. Then they have to butcher them. They go through that process and get it, cleaned and packed and shipped, and it shows up. It doesn't just show up at the grocery store, people. The things just don't show up there. People actually have to make them. They do hard work to get them there. Just like in the service industry, people are doing things for you. They're working hard to bring you that food. So be appreciative of it, right? Those people, when you call 911, they're there to help you be successful with whatever issue and problem that you have. And they're there to help you and get the resources that you need. So appreciate those people. Tell them thank you. That's a good thing to do. Generosity. Be curious, ask good questions, and just help people be better. Just be a better person.
Yep. Step in where you can.
Exactly. All right. So this next part is going to be fun. It's going to be quick. So I'm going to throw some real quick questions. Just tell me the first thing that pops to your mind.
Okay.
Hardest job you've ever had?
Hardest job, DCF.
All right. DCF. So current job, hardest job, most rewarding job.
Also DCF.
Okay. It's a theme here. Most emotionally exhausting job.
911.
Okay.
911.
That makes a lot of sense. Best coworker story.
It would still have to be my best friend. I mean, her and I met in a working field at Burger King, a place that we were just there to make $1, make ends meet. So for her and I,
puts the burger on the bun.
I mean, we were the customer service, so we were like joint at the hip.
Yeah. Did you spend much time in the kitchen, or is it just okay? So you were taking everybody's order, putting everything together, and getting it out the door, taking the money. Yeah. Yeah.
So we met
back when people weren't paying with cards; they were paying with actual cash back then, right?
We saw cash back.
Anybody ever try to write you a check?
No, but people have given us false money before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fake money with their picture on it, or somebody else's, or Monopoly money, maybe. I don't know.
And it changes the color it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Were they surprised or were they new?
They're like, "Oh my god, I just picked
I just got that at the bank." Yeah, I just got that at the bank. Okay, right, exactly.
Can't all be getting.
Yeah, I was born at night, but not last night. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I go back just even within the smallest job field that we could have been doing. It created a long-lasting friendship. There's probably other coworker stories out there, but I mean that's the one that ended up being the most meaningful.
Okay. One job you could never do again.
Burger King. Knowing how the food process works,
right?
It just grosses me out. I mean, I apologize, but I don't really.
Do you still eat at Burger King? No, I didn't think so.
I can't. Just knowing how the food process works, I can't do it.
All right, this one's a little tricky, but you got to really think about this one. What would be your dream job if money didn't matter?
If money didn't matter.
Didn't matter what you made. What would be your dream job?
I could still be working in DCF the way that I do now.
Okay, wow.
Maybe in a different position. But I think I've found a true job that I can support other people. I can appreciate people on a different level. Emotionally, I feel like I'm growing better than I thought could ever be possible. And there's still more opportunities for me to grow. It's a lasting job to grow. And
Okay. Last quick fire question. Best advice you've ever received, either at work or about a specific job?
oh, we do this on a day to day basis. If you don't document it, it didn't happen. So
Okay.
if you work in a field where documentation is important, stay on top of your documentation.
Stay on top of your documentation. All right, I like that. So, what would be some things that people don't realize about the work that you do and about the work that other people do contributing to DCF, children and families, helping people? What are some things that, not just from your perspective, maybe from some of your coworkers' perspective, your colleagues' perspective, that people just don't realize what goes on in the background or what goes on in people's lives that they just don't see. You know, they watch TV and they see things in the news or they watch stories, but what are the real things? What are things going on behind the scenes that people just don't realize?
So I know it seems half the time on TV that these things happen very quick and change happens even quicker to provide safety and support. Now, I won't say that we don't have emergency situations where we're able to provide safety for children and families a lot quicker. However, the max amount of time that I can have on a case is 60 days.
Hmm.
So that's, I mean, that's 2 months worth of work. And sometimes
And that's a small amount of time, you think, to help people in their life, and it could be a much longer issue that needs to be
and
fixed.
that's why sometimes things are drawn out all the way up until that 60-day mark. Sometimes we're going past 60 days. We're constantly on the phone. We're constantly putting in our assessments and we're constantly reaching out to resources. I mean, you're communicating with multiple people
Hmm.
on a day-to-day basis. And I think people think that I get this case and you're my only case.
Right. How many cases do you normally work at a time or supervise at a time?
15 to 20.
15 to 20. Wow.
I mean, that's just one person.
That's just, yeah.
It shouldn't be like that. Fortunately, the workload that comes in shows how much people are still needing help. And so we are trying to dip our toes into every little case on a day to day basis. That's the only way you're going to be able to help a family, but everybody always thinks that you're just focused on them. And that is something that I wish that could happen, is that I'm only solely focused on this one family because couldn't even imagine the amount of help that I could produce at that point.
Hmm.
But we are doing so much more work, working with meetings, working with training, me mentoring other people. So much is happening behind a door that most people don't even realize.
Okay. So is this the job that you're most proud of?
It is. It is a job I am most proud of. I have helped so many people. Others have helped me in so many different ways. I didn't think I'd ever go back to school to get not only my bachelor's but my master's degree. That's not something I saw for myself in the future. Um, it's helped grow communities that I thought I'd never be a part of. I've helped people get into communities that I didn't think were out there, and so every day it seems like some small piece is being helped in some way. I think that's what I'm most proud of in that job.
What advice would you give someone if they wanted to start in the line of work that you're doing?
I would say be prepared to work a lot of hours. It's not like that all the time, but
Mhm.
there are going to be late nights. There are going to be early mornings. One day I worked 36 hours straight without sleeping. And maybe that's not normal, but you have to understand you are responsible at the drop of a hat. I've got two phones, a personal phone and a work phone.
Mhm.
Can't tell you how many times that thing goes off throughout the day, text messages, phone calls, emails. You have to be able to multitask. You have to be able to time management. And that sounds like a set off from wanting to do the job. But if you love working with kids, if you love working with families, and you want a job to experience something on a greater level, I would reach out to your local office, see what it takes to work with DCF, see opportunities that you can volunteer or do support roles in, because we're always looking for support roles. So don't discount us. It's a great job. It's a great way to know more about your community, know more about yourself, and just help people if that's something you're wanting to do.
That's excellent. Hopefully, there's some folks out there listening today that'll be interested. Maybe they'll reach out. Maybe they'll make some comments, and we can help them be successful in getting into this type of job. Well, one thing I take away from this conversation today is that the dignity of work, and it's not coming from a title. It's coming from what do you emotionally, physically, and in your mind want to do to be successful and what success means to you. It means a lot of different things to different people. Sydney has talked about what success means to her and how that has helped her be successful. I've talked about what success means to me in some of our other podcasts, especially in my time in the military, and now with the work that I do today. But it's all different for everybody. And we all lead from a different perspective. It's all about the effort, the responsibility. What are you willing to do? How are you willing to treat people? How do you want people to treat you? You know, I follow one of the golden rules is I treat people the way I want them to treat me. You know, I tip well. I tell people thank you, right? I'm curious. I give, generously when I can. And I'm appreciative of the work that people do. No matter what job they're doing, even if it's cleaning the bathroom to serving you to the CEO at some company. To me, it doesn't really matter. It's just about being curious and being a good person in life. And I appreciate that you're here today. You've been here on this podcast episode.
It was a great time. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll have you back for some more episodes, whether it's here in person or if it's remotely. Doesn't matter. We'll get you back on the podcast. All right, excellent. So that is all for today's episode of Life on Record. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you're new to the podcast, tell a friend, family member, or colleague about us. We just might make their day. Thanks for listening. Cheers. Life on Record is written and produced by Matt and Kenny Compton. Music by Mr. Smith.